you say? How do you say? I'm just about to see another day. I go by the name of Terror the Barber, and this is Razor Sharp Podcast. Today, we have the myth, the legend, the barber of all barbers, the educator of all educators. The man got his own clipper. Kenny Duncan is in the building today, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to first and foremost salute you, my brother, for your longevity in this barber industry, for the things that you do, coming from the city of brotherly love.
Yes,
And
sir.
you, my brother, are very genuine in everything that you do. I've never seen you not float on air the way you should be floating on air, my brother. And you are amazing at what you do. Every single time I see you, it's always a nice ray of sunshine around you. Your aura is unmatched, my brother. And I just wanted you to get your flowers today. So for anybody out there that may not know who's under a rock, that don't know who Kenny Duncan is, just throw it out there real quick so people can know exactly who you are.
And I like to call myself a local barber who loves what he does. And my perspective is that there's a large amount of my work that you may know, and my face can be hidden behind it all.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So let's short, sweet, and straight to the point. Um, I've been a follower of you for decades now. Always been into everything that you do. Even watch your old videos on YouTube, your interviews on YouTube all the time because the gems that you dropped in the past is still resonating now. So I definitely recommend people to just Google Kenny Duncan's name and just go on YouTube because the gems that you may not know is there, and you guys need to be locked in and in tune. So before we get into Barbers Who Care, let them out there know exactly what's going on with your own clipper from the clipper company, Andis.
Well, it's a clipper with a cause. It's not just a clipper. It's something that resonates with me because of the tool itself represents 20 years of teaching, and it also represents four major principles that I believe that anybody can practice to unlock the best version of themselves. My movement is called Be Great on Purpose. The four principles that I believe in is one, patience. Patience unlocks a level of mastery, 10,000 hours of practice. This is some of the things that's hidden within the artwork of the tool, and it's explained more with the booklet that comes inside. I believe that anybody who practices patience within the discipline that they're learning going to unlock a level of mastery with a little bit over 5 years of experience of practice. Two, humility. The idea of when you focus on submitting yourself to a mentor, I believe that mentorship precedes success. So the idea is that I'm standing on the shoulders of the people that came before me, and then there's people that standing on my shoulders, and they're able to reach a lot taller heights because of the community that they're able to help be around. That helps build them to the next level. So my perspective is that mentorship precedes success. Third, mindset shifts to be great on purpose instead of settling for just being good. The mentality of finding what's missing for you to be great versus just settling for just being good. That's a part of the movement. It's part of the artwork. And it's principle number three. Change your mindset to focus on what's missing for you to be great instead of just trying to compare yourself to anybody else and their journey, what's missing for you to be great. And last but not least, understand that nuggets of wisdom are found in your failures. Now, all of these things are hidden as artwork inside of the clipper.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, fits the master blade. Everybody knows that Andis has made the best blades for years, and to have four different blades that can fit on that tool, same motor that you find at the Andis Master, with a 28 tooth ceramic blade that cuts cool with the weapon of your choice. It comes with an Andis taper blade, but it can fit the phase, the fat, the fade, and the taper. So
Mhm.
empowering you to be able to do whatever you need in a what's required tool that's just as powerful as the Andis Master. So,
Okay, so I've definitely taken the time out because I got my own personal clipper
mhm,
and I have it on my display of my house. This,
mhm.
this, this is a trophy for me. This is something that's going to stand the test of time. There's not too many black barbers that have their name on something that's so vital and important to the industry and to the cause.
Yep.
And I want every barber out there to have an understanding that you need two pair. You need one pair that's going to just be there that we can just appreciate. But you need a second pair that we want the barbers to use. We want you guys to use. We want to see you guys using it. We want to see pictures and video. But this is the way that the movement can grow further by not just saying I got a pair, not just saying, oh, it's cool that he has it, but the fact of the matter is that we're using it. And every time that barbers are using it, it is a representation of Kenny Duncan and what he has going on.
So I called it with a clipper with a call, so I didn't get a chance to explain that the Andis Company and Kenny Duncan Enterprise has partnered with Barbers Who Care. So with purchasing that tool, it supports the charitable efforts that we're doing in Philadelphia and in multiple cities abroad. So it's not just something where we're trying to make money off of. For me, my emphasis this year to 2025 is greatness through giving. So I'm not judging myself based off of what I'm able to do for myself.
Yeah.
I'm judging myself based off of what I'm able to do for others. So for me, the whole movement is just to empower the Barbers Who Care movement to be able to do more in the community. And that in itself means more than anything else. Like, I'm gonna give you an example of some of the updates that we've been focusing on. I got a chance to actually to groom, and one of the things that took place was AJ Brown sat in my chair, and the first thing I said to him was, I said, honestly speaking, I'm not going to judge you based off of the watch you wear, the chain you wear, the car you drive, or the house you live in. I'm going to judge you based off of what you're doing for the community. Keep in mind, never met him before. I know who his regular barber is, and I told him the whole thing. This is how I'm judging. What came from that one is 3 weeks ago, we partnered in Philadelphia to do a charity event where we actually made sure that the school that Barbers Who Care has adopted, Boys Latin, were blessed again with the partnership of Barbers Who Care and the AJ Brown Foundation. And it only came by way of that partnership that took place.
That's amazing, bro. That's amazing that you got that going on. And I'm curious to know how many people already know about the movement. How many people are in tune with the movement, and are you getting a lot of eyes on what you got going on? Because it's one thing to say, "Oh, I got this going on," but are you being supported?
Absolutely. Here's what the numbers are showing me. So I just got finished doing my Be Great on Purpose tour. I didn't go with the traditional route of trying to make sure that I tap into professionals. I tapped into the students. Everything was about giving back. So my emphasis was to focus on going to the younger generation, the next set of future kings and queens, the next set of leaders, to make sure that I put my thumbprint on their journey, on their emphasis, on their opportunities. And giving access to those individuals doesn't require for me to make a lot of noise. It is required for me to do a lot of groundwork. And that's what we was able to do. And that's what we're in the midst of doing. So my perspective is that, everything doesn't necessarily have to be publicized, but it's a lot of movement that's going on. What we were able to do just in the past calendar year, we were able to raise over $40,000 to give away to different organizations. We were able to serve about 650 kids with free haircuts and resources through a series of 4 different events we partnered to end up doing. And we're not done with this year yet. So there's a lot of emphasis on what we're able to do for the community. And I don't have to be in a space where I'm broadcasting and telling everybody everything. It's about partnering with the right people to make the right noise, to make the impact on the right people that actually need it.
Now, let me ask you a question. How did you convince Andis to let you do this? Because I don't see a lot of clipper companies out there doing it in this magnitude to have a representation like this. They will do the influencers deal where they have a certain amount of barbers that they will give them their own colorway, but it's the same clipper. But how did you convince them to say, you know what, we see what you got going on and we want to back it?
Honestly speaking, it wasn't about me convincing. It was what they offered. 20 years of serving and partnering with the brands caused them to say, this is what you deserve. One of the things that Ivan Zoot told me, Ivan Zoot was my very first mentor in this second mentor in this barbering education game. Gerald Larry was the first. When I first was introduced to the education world, G Wiz and Gerald Larry, they worked for another brand, right? So funny story is my mom told me not to use 4-letter words. So therefore I use Andis, you know what I'm saying, 5 letters, but they work for the 4-letter. So brotherhoods are stronger than brand affiliations. So Gerald Leary, he's the first one to pull me under his wing, and he taught me how to educate. That led me to being on the stage with Ivan. And one of the things Ivan did was he set the tone and set the bar for what it means to be a great educator. But he let me know, honestly speaking, Andis is the name of the family's last name, and there will never be a clipper or a box that has my face or my name on it, because if anybody deserved it, he did, because he trailblazed a large amount of for a large amount of time for the company, and I never aimed for it as a result of what's being said. And the only other person that I ever seen with their actual name, their name on a tool, was G Wiz.
She was, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
from that standpoint, there have been people that have, done their own, third party deals. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as from the brands, G Wiz was the only person that I ever seen do this on, or that I seen it. Now Gerald Leary, he had the trimmer, and his face was on the packaging. As soon as you open the package, it's just the generic trimmer, similar to the deals that you see done today, the
Yeah.
ambassador series or the influencer series. So from my perspective, there isn't anybody else other than G Wiz that actually had their name and likeness on the actual tool. And I didn't ask for it. My 20 years of service with the brand earned it, and that's why we're here.
Do you think that just being Do you think that just being loyal to a brand, to a company, and really not looking for anything, no validation, but just knowing that you're doing something for for a bigger cause is the reason why they see that you've been in it with them for 20 years? You know, you started with the 1 year contract or
Mhm.
for the barber battle, and you showed so much value that they kept you for 19 years after that. So do you believe that it's just the way that you present yourself and the way that you
No,
educate yourself, the way that you network, that keeps them wanting to keep you on?
well, I continue to add value instead of sitting at his feet and always asking for opportunities. I've created opportunities. Like that's been my relationship. The same way that we as all barbers connect our clients to add value to each one is the same thing I did over the years with this particular brand. So my perspective has been from the partnership that Major League Barbers had with Andis. I was the liaison between that one. The partnership between Exotics and Andis, I was a liaison between that one. I helped facilitate Andis being one of the sponsors of the CT Barber Expo for many years. So the rise of a lot of the things that we are seeing, quietly, I'm behind the scenes assisting with the process of creating marketing decks, getting deals done, and even helping some of the other brands that are not competing do the same and have the same relationship. So when I'm bringing things to the table, it adds more value versus me sitting at the back and saying, "Hey, can you do this for me?" So I've never led with, "Hey, what about me?" What I'd led with is, "Okay, I see something dope over here. I see something dope over here. Let's connect the two and try to make this work."
That's amazing, my brother. And you know, there's a lot of talk about black barbers not having the right representation in the barber industry, and I say to them, I don't agree. Now, can it be more black
Absolutely.
barbers and stylists? Definitely, but you are
Absolutely.
one of those barbers that's being represented properly. Do you agree?
So the question is represented properly by who? Because I'm going to tell you what my perspective is on that topic.
Hmm.
I can't blame a barber battle and I can't blame an expo for what I observe to be the issues with my people. I'm not one that likes to point the finger at other people and my expectations of their responsibility. I like to take accountability. Okay, what's the reason why I don't see a lot of my own being celebrated or being supported at certain events? It's a cultural thing, bro. Like when you come from a background of trying to survive, it's not in your DNA to focus on how to stay together and how to focus on ways that we can actually thrive together. That's not what we're wired with. So my perspective is that I'm fighting against years and years of issues that we've dealt with culturally. I can't point the finger and say now it's this other culture's responsibility to represent and highlight me. It's my duty to lead and show, okay, collaboration over competition. It's my duty to focus on how we can actually build one another. Like, for instance, good friend of mine, Marcus Harvey, he's on a summit. My current conversation with Andis is, okay, how can Andis be a sponsor for the summit? Because quiet as kept, there's a new clipper and trimmer coming out. I like it a lot. One of the things that should be debuted instead of just at one of the other shows that's taking place in Atlanta. The week before, we're coming to Atlanta again. Why not have this opportunity? So that's an ongoing conversation behind the scenes. Now, what I could have done is say, you know what? Let me create my own thing. But I didn't. I said, there's something that's existing. There's something I know about. Let me see how I can glue them together, see that how my culture can actually do better together versus me trying to recreate the wheel. So one of the things I did on this tour that I've started called Be Great on Purpose, I toured around a whole bunch of schools and I challenged them with this one strategy. I took some Uno cards, broke the whole schools up into groups, and I asked them to compete to create the highest and the tallest house of cards, right? The only rule I gave them was that everybody has to build together, 2 cards at a time, and everybody in the group has to build. What I consistently watched was that certain groups of people stayed and worked together, and then there were certain ones that said, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to build my own house. So I'm going to tell you what took place. At one group, there was 3 and 4 people trying to build their own house versus working together. And when I broke it down to them afterwards, I said, here's the thing. We're better together and we're much stronger together. But each of you who felt like your idea wasn't respected by somebody else, you decided to open your own barbershop. And now y'all have 3 or 4 barbershops on the same block because y'all can't agree.
Yep.
But if we were empowered with better communication and conflict resolution skills, we won't be dismissing other people so easily, and we'll come together. And everybody who built a strong foundation in a group with that house of cards end up building taller houses of cards, and the house of cards didn't fall as easy. But all of them who wanted to do it on their own, when they tried to put the 2 cards together, it kept falling. And I said, yo, does it make sense that because of somebody disagreeing with your opinion, that you just went ahead and went to a suite and opened up your own barbershop? When my perspective is that we're better together. So I use that as an analogy to say, hey, listen, when you work in a barbershop, you're doing what's called X. You're attracting your own clients and telling your clients where you are. The second thing is you're doing is you're being a backup barber to the other barbers that's in the shop. So now you're adding Y. The last thing is you did was when everybody is collectively marketing together, when you have one strong fist of everybody marketing together, you'll have clients that belong to the shop and not to each individual barber. So X is your ability to make money yourself. Y is the ability for you to be the backup barber somebody else. And Z is for you to make money off of just being in a great location that consistently marketed well.
Wow.
So your earning potential is much stronger when you're in a group. But because of you disagreeing with somebody, because of you feeling like your voice is not being heard, you isolate yourself and want to focus on this building this house that's a not strong foundation that's easy to blow down. I said my proof of that one is during the pandemic. There's a lot of barbershops that I know that closed down. And the reason why is because they weren't built with a strong foundation and it was very easy to blow down because we don't want to focus on working together.
Absolutely.
Now, the next thing I broke down in reference to the community piece that gets disrupted while we're separated is community conversation. I need to have 3 and 4 generations of men all in the building at the same time. But because we prioritize appointments and because we prioritize higher price points, because we prioritize longer services so that we can make the most money, we've disrespected the idea of community within a barbershop because there's no community meetings taking place with us anymore. There's no actually, opportunities for wisdom to be given by the older generation to the younger generation. There's so much disconnect, and now we're only connected through social. That's something that I'm actively doing something about going straight to the younger generation and saying, hey, listen, here's an exercise that proves that we're stronger together. Here's an exercise that proves that we're better together. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to change the narrative of what's taking place. And I can't do it for everybody, but I can do it for those that are willing to listen. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
And I do believe that, you're gonna have people that's gonna see what you got going on and want to be a part of it. And that's always gonna want to be helping with the keeping the foundation strong. Like my brother Clay Scopes. No matter what it is, Clay is gonna be able to provide his hands. We are barbers and we use our hands. God gave us this gift to use our left and our right hand to be able to hold up things and to do things. And you have people like that. You have soldiers like that that's going to be on the front line with you, that's going to help provide and help move things and never ask for anything. So you got people that see what you got going on and they don't mind going state to state to
Absolutely.
to to
We
support.
my last charity event, we had 5 states represented under one roof with 50 plus barbers cutting together. And I gave them all the K Duncan Clipper.
And that's unheard of because it's hard to get 3 barbers to say that they're going to do a back to school event. So for you to be able to get 50 barbers, and I was definitely trying to be one
From
of those
5 different
barbers to be
states.
there.
From
Huh?
5 different
From
states.
5 different states, it already speaks volumes of the kind of movement that you have going on, and that every single one of them barbers would be able to take what they seen that you did and want to emulate that in their city and their state. And then that's how we create a whole when it comes to this separation that we have in this barber culture. So I commend you, my brother, for
Mhm.
putting out this rhetoric of what needs to be done. And the tour that you speak of, what is the name of the tour again?
Be great on purpose.
Be great on purpose. Where did you get that slogan from?
It developed over time. Just through the wisdom of my mentors, just thinking about, being intentional about your greatness, being intentional about focusing on being grateful. I believe that gratefulness is a superpower. That's somebody planted that seed in my head. Just to experience not wanting to just be good. I don't want to be mediocre. I want to be my version of great. I want to minimize my expectations amongst people that I don't have responsibility to. Asking
Mm,
myself the questions of, okay, why do I care about this person's opinion when that person doesn't affect my finances? They don't control my family. Like streaking who I'm responsible for so I can maximize my level of effectiveness so that I can be great versus trying to serve the whole world. Like when I first started with education, not throughout my years of education, I've taught more people than I have Instagram followers. I've
uh-huh.
shaken more hands than I have Instagram followers. And there's a perspective that popular barbers on social are in it for the clout. But the reality is some things just happen by way of you actually have a good heart. And
Yeah.
the perspective is for me is to do the best that I can with what I have, not comparing myself to anybody else, trying to live up to the thumbprint that God has created for me, not trying to duplicate what anybody else has. I travel a lot and I had to use my fingers to clear. That's one of the services that the airport has. And when I place my fingertips on a device, a scanner, it gives me access to the seat that's designed for me. When I try to duplicate somebody else's, the seat is taken and I'm not sitting on nobody's lap. So my perspective is that I want to sit in a seat that's designed for me,
Yes.
and I'm satisfied with that for me, because what God has for me is for me, and what God has for you is for you. You know?
Yes. So let me ask you a question. Why do you care? Why not just be a barber, make some money, cut some hair, and go home to your family? Why?
That wasn't my story. My story is that I've earned more. I've been in my career. I've I've been paid more in character than I have in cash. I've been given access to opportunities that I did not earn. Um, God has been gracious to support me in ways that um, I can't say that I deserve myself. So my perspective is, who am I to say that somebody else is disqualified or, or is in this position that they are because of what they haven't been through? Like I haven't had the greatest upbringing, but I got access to some of the world's greatest opportunities and greatest things because of the Clippers, and also because of what God seen as being divine, purpose, and designed for me. And I didn't work for those things. So my perspective is if if God can use other people to be an asset and blessing to me, then why can't I do the same for others?
Mhm. That's a fact. So, how do you find barbers who care?
Well, barberswhocare.org has been around for 16 years. You go to Barbers Who Care, like all of our stuff is, you Google it, you'll find it. And my perspective is, instead of me searching for the Barbers Who Care, I believe that people who are have like minds and like mind synergy, we end up migrating together. So it's not necessary for us to actually go searching and try to make people want to give. The perspective is, those people that are aligned will divinely come together to actually do some great things. I'm already having some great conversations about what the next version of Be Great on Purpose will be, and how we continue to evolve. And I am not the sole representative of Barbers Who Care. Barbers Who Care is a nonprofit, 501c3. The government owns it. I just so happen to be one of the individuals that helps influence where it goes. I've been challenged over this past year to let go and allow for the barbers who actually do care have their respective roles in which they lead, so that it can actually be better, because I firmly believe that we're better together. So
Absolutely.
if I try to do things on my own, it just won't go. But if
Mhm.
I allow for the greatness that resides in you and everybody else, we'll be done. I challenged Marcus Harvey. I said, Barbers Who Care will be doing an event in Atlanta. Actually, I came down to Atlanta because we actually donated some money to Pro Stretch Barber Academy. We came to there twice this year to do events in this space. And for me, if I can represent our culture well and actually plant the seeds within people that are within our culture, I can
Mhm.
expect me leading in that space can allow me to have an expectation for me to receive a harvest of the seeds that were planted. That's the goal.
That's amazing, my brother. I'm definitely excited to see what 2026 has in store for all that you have going on. Um, I'm going to be an advocate to really push everything that you have. Razor Sharp Podcast is here to bridge the gap between the younger and the older generation of barbers, and I feel like this opportunity now to bring more awareness of what's going on. I love doing back to school events, even if it's just me by myself. I love talking to the younger generation of individuals, male and female, and I believe that God has given me this voice to be able to connect with like-minded people. We just did an amazing barber event last night where people thought that it wouldn't happen, right? And I'm just so humbled to be able to have a fellowship of barbers, a community of barbers, and we're all talking about the same thing, and we want to see nothing but greatness come out of the barber industry, out of people, out of humanity, and then move everything forward in a positive way. So I commend you, my brother, because you have your career, you have your family, you have yourself, and you still being an individual that's able to provide for others and do for others, and you do it when nothing acts in return. God has instilled something in you to do this and continue to do this, and you bringing other people on board to make sure that if one brick falls, somebody's there to pick it up. So
There you
I
go.
just want to thank you.
Appreciate it.
If
I'm
nobody
expecting
say it, I thank you.
I'm expecting great things in that area. Uh, Mr. Denson with Barber's Heart, Mike
Barbara's heart.
Andrews supporting Pro Fresh Barber Academy, Marcus Harvey with Barber Star in the Summit, you, the podcast. I can go on and on, a list of many different people that's in that area. Like I said, my sister is a social worker in that area. So my goal is just to connect the dots of all the people that are thought leaders doing some great things and providing organization for us to come together. My disappointment is consistently when a large amount of us with ideas and a lot of the elite individuals, um, because we had the capacity to do things on our own, we typically just do that. And what happens is it becomes one where some of the resources get wasted because we're being redundant of doing
Yes.
the same type of things versus coming together. I've
Yeah.
experienced that in Philadelphia. What takes place now, where 16 years ago, barbers made the most money doing back to school. That's when they made the most money. I started a wave of us giving away money. during this time. Now, fast forward 16 years later, every time we do an event, there ends up being multiple events done on the same day of people trying to duplicate the same things. And my perspective is instead of us trying to figure out how we can actually, do our own to make our individual one bigger and better, why not find additional partners that can help thrive and make things work? So we partner with United Healthcare. That makes it unique. We partner with Andis. We partner with Slicker. We partner with Barber Strong. We partner with CCP, Community College of Philadelphia. And there's several Beauty and Smarts Academy was focused on doing manicures for the girls. So the more partnerships that we have to be able to cover the different needs of the community, we're able to do some strong things. And not to mention, I had to wear I'm an official barber for the 76ers, but I had to wear the Eagles because this summer alone, I partnered with three different Philadelphia Eagles to do charity events.
Uh-huh.
I don't care. I told them, listen, AJ, if you want your name on top, I don't care. We'll support and make things work because it's all about the people. It's not about the person. So as long as we as leaders at times are willing to put ourselves to the side, we can be stronger together. And my position now is to lead in that space, not trying to focus on putting me up front, but trying to make sure that I put the spotlight on somebody else who's dope and somebody else who deserves to be highlighted. And that's the reason why I had to take my hat off to my man Clay. Multiple years coming from New York to serve the youth of Philadelphia. And I had to tell everybody, he's did more free haircuts in Philly than the barbers in Philly. And he's bringing people with him. Come on. If that
Yeah,
ain't a barber who care, I don't know who is.
that's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? And I just want that to be infectious and grow slow. I don't want things to grow fast. Grow slow, make sure it grows strong, and become immovable. Greatness to given.
So, what do you need from us? We could buy the clipper, and then the proceeds will go towards the movement, right? But what do you need from the barber world?
Need from the barber world. Honestly speaking, um, I would like for us to lead. I like for us to lead with um, accountability, asking the right self questions of why did I feel some type of way? What was the reason why I did that? And peeling back the layers. Because as we're leading, the younger generation is following. And if we're leading with, unhealed traumas from our childhoods, we're replicating the cycle that doesn't necessarily produce the right change. So if we do the right self work and allow God to heal us, then we become qualified to become better leaders so that we can actually expect better from the next generation. Because at this point, I'm not doing it for just me. I'm not doing it for just, it's literally, you got to understand, I'm doing it for those that are watching. I'm doing it for those that, starting with my family. I'm doing it for those that are watching. And you gotta understand, we gotta be considerate that their eyes is being put on us. And it's not just about what we like, what's best, or clickbait or the algorithm.
Okay. So listen, tell the people out there where they can find the clippers, where they can go to donate to the cause, so we can make sure that that bag get ran up.
BeGreatOnPurpose.org. You can see everything we're doing, and also BeGreatOnPurpose.org.
Well, I thank you, my brother, for taking the time out to today. Your story is everywhere. We could talk about who Kenny Duncan is, where his beginning was, but what's important right now, what's vital right now, is to make sure that everybody is aware of what the movement is and what you got going on, and how we can help magnify who you are and what you're doing in the bigger space. So we thank you for coming on board. Radio Star Podcast is always important.
Much appreciated, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. Do you want to say anything to the people out there before we end the live?
Honestly speaking, just don't settle for being good and aim to be great. Yeah, intentionally be great on purpose.
Okay. And there was one question that I saw that one of the Dave S said. Our first conversation had nothing to do with barbering. The question is, what's one thing you could change in the world if you could?
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this in a way that, with no disrespect to anybody else, because I don't know the world. I can't say that I know enough to focus on changing the world. But what I do know is I know my people that I've got a chance to get a relationship with in Philadelphia, and I know my people through the barber community, and specifically for the black and brown barbers who I've spent most of my time building with. Is that we have an opportunity to actually lead the next generation, and we should just be more mindful of us continuing to grow, so that we can actually expect better seeds to be planted, and expect a different harvest from it, versus just allowing us to just be selfish and focus on ourselves. There was a book that I read that summed this up. Uh, um, it's called "Cry Like a Man," and Jason Wilson. And one of the things he talked about was that there's a large amount of individuals there's a large amount of young men in the inner cities that don't have the best mentors, because the people that got it end up focusing on just themselves and focusing on their families. So they only left with the people that's hanging out in the corners as the mentors, the people they look up to. I want to be like him. I want to be like him. And they set the tone of what's to be aimed for. And we judge ourselves based off of the things we can accumulate, how many women we can end up acquiring, and how many items we can actually acquire and showcase as status piece. But then those of us that are secure within ourselves and focus on family, it becomes a little bit different. You don't have time to mentor that young man, so it becomes a challenge. In that same thread, a good friend of mine named P. Michael, who does a lot for the local barber community through the youth, he said to me one time we was working on a project. He says, "Yo, when the brains leave the community, we only leave the brawn. So it becomes the responsibility of the brains to not leave the community so quick and just leave the brawn. And then we blame the youth for what they're not doing right. But the reality is, it's really more on the previous generation to make sure we guide them so they can do right. You can't have expectations of somebody live up to something and they never been really taught those things, because as soon as you get it, you leave. Once again, we're better together. We're better together."
That's a fact. Thank you, my brother, for taking the time out today to drop some gems, letting people know exactly what they need to be doing, which is to buy the MV2 clipper, because the proceeds go towards the movement and the cause. And let's make sure that every single barber, not black, not brown, not white, not yellow, but every single barber gets a pair of those clippers, and make sure that we using them. So this your boy Terror the Barber. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow, tell a friend to tell a friend. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Barbers, we back at it with another phase of fellowship.
A phase of fellowship.
We got my dog Tony Banks. We got Radio Shop Podcast with the owner, the iconic E. We got Ray, my supply guy.
Energy, energy, energy.